3, 2, 1, and we are live. Alright guys, welcome back to the live stream. Special episode today, episode number 3 of our interview talk discussion series, if you will, this year. Today we have vegan activist, I assume, Ellie on. I have her Instagram page here on my phone. I'm reading off it. It says Ellie, do it but make it gay, Norwich, UK. Vegan, by the way. Fantastic. Okay, so Ellie is streaming as well. She's not with us yet. I'm gonna call her in a second, and then we're gonna start talking about veganism, etc., you name it. The whole shebang. I always love giving vegans the platform in order to spread their message, their view. I always say that as well here on this channel. This channel is not against vegans. That would be ridiculous because I was a vegan for 4 years straight. This channel is against veganism, the ideology that destroys also many humans' lives. That's what this is about here. And therefore, I always like to reach out to the other side in the hopes of saving a person or two. Okay, that being said, guys, just quickly, I'm gonna visit the chat and see what's up over there. Yeah, I heard UFC. I'm waiting for Islam Makhachev as well. But yeah, that is nowhere near. So enjoy our talk. We definitely have some time for that. I think it's in 5 or 6 hours from now. So relax. We have all the time in the world. Today, Ellie said she has an hour 30-ish, something on those lines. So it's not going to be too long anyways. Okay. Now, yeah, the Ukraine conflict. Guys, I'm going to talk about that tomorrow on tomorrow's stream. I'm not too sure if we're going to have another vegan on tomorrow. Could be. Let me just double check here. Her name is Magdalena from Polska. So she wants to discuss veganism with me as well. Allegedly a former carnivore. So that will be interesting too. Nevertheless, we're going to see how that works out. For now, I'm definitely going to stream tomorrow as well and talk about the conflict. But yeah, more about that tomorrow, not today. Alright. Fantastisch. Wunderschön. Let's go. I'm gonna give her a call now. And then we should be good to go. Well, let's see. I hope everybody's excited. Guys, as always, if you have any questions during the stream, I'm gonna try to answer them as well. Obviously, they should be related to our talk, related to our guest. So if you have any questions, super chats and Streamlabs donations will be accepted. Of course, the rest, I cannot read the chat during our talk. That's impossible. After our hangout, I will be able to answer a few as well. So if you want to support, the link is in the chat box. Feel free. Thank you very much. Okay. Doody-doody-doo. Daddy-daddy-dum. And let me know if the sound is good as well. Hello.
Hello,
Ellie. 1 second.
Oh, you saw it on the screen?
Yeah. I just have to switch the screen. Guys, let me know in the chat if you can hear us both equally. If I have to adjust the volume. And then we go from there. 1 second, here we go. Chat interface, fantastic. Ellie, welcome to the show.
Hello, Bobby, you alright?
Hello. All right. Yes. All right, Ellie. Welcome. Yeah, I already introduced you just with your Instagram profile. That's all I got around here. I know that you run a vegan channel. I know that you made a video or two about me. I didn't watch the whole thing. I always get angry, not because people make videos about me. I like that actually. But when they roll the R. I never roll the R. Come on,
I
why?
don't do accents very well. I just try my hardest, Bobby.
Man. You and vegan gains. I never roll the R. I don't speak Russian or anything on those lines. I know I have a thick accent. I know.
I'll work on it, Bobby.
Thank you very much.
I'll make it better. Okay.
Thank you very much. Yeah, guys, as I said, we're streaming on both channels. Nevertheless, it was an invite on my channel, so I make the introduction and I propose that we both can introduce our channel so we can talk about what the theme of our channel is, what the motivation behind it is. I think that's fair, so both viewers know what we're up to, in case they don't know. Ellie, you can start if you want.
Okay, absolutely. So yeah, my name's Vegan Gaze, also Ellie or Elle. I run a vegan channel, have for quite a few years now, and I have multiple motivations. Some of it's like to offer catharsis for people who are vegan, because it's quite a small community. As well as that, I outreach, debate people on veganism, animal rights, and as well as that, I really like memes. So I enjoy memes, live stream, and look at current events regarding animal rights. But that's basically all I really cover.
Cool.
I think that's about it.
Yeah, so in case you guys don't know me, over on Ellie's channel, I run the channel Bobby's Perspective. The reason behind it is that I was vegan for 4 years straight. So therefore, I'm not coming from the classical meat eater's perspective that never tried veganism and doesn't know what it's about. I did it for 4 years. We can get into that a bit later if you want as well, what I did wrong on that note, as always. But yeah, I did it for 4 years, and then ultimately my health was in shambles. And this is why I use this channel for education and to make people the exit of veganism a bit easier, because I know how hard it is for people to consider different options whilst they are vegan. When I had those health issues during my veganism, within the vegan community, obviously we'll get only plant-based options, but that didn't fix my health. And only when I was able to get out of the conditioning, so to speak, and try eggs, for example, or fish, this is when I finally could reclaim my health. So this is what we do here. We try to bring people back to health.
Fancy. Okay, yeah, we can go through that later on. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right on. So you said on your channel, it is essentially about animal rights. You try to bring that closer to people. Mm-hmm. Would you say there is a certain benefit exclusive to people, or is it just about the animals? Just so I'm getting that right.
Yeah, so it's for people as well, because, you know, in my view, I'm seeing us as animals as well. And I think if we value the autonomy of a given sentient being, then I think that falls and bodes well for humans as well. Because I think, generally speaking, we don't actually value the autonomy of an individual. We look at, you know, we objectify people to some extent, you know, depending on, you know, culture, circumstance. We very much, in the attitudes towards people, we think we have some sort of onus over them, their bodies, and their autonomy. So I think I can't conclude, or absolutely, if you stopped, you know, engaging in direct rights violations to other animals, that suddenly, okay, well then humans would be absolutely fine. But I do think there would be some sort of benefit, because, you know, there's no relevant difference between us and other animals. So I think that would probably be positive.
Benefit for the humans, for your viewers?
I think so obviously, like, environmentally speaking, so say if we went suddenly plant-based, then obviously the environmental repercussions, I think, would be a positive rather than the negative. So it would be an improvement. I don't think you can have these like monocropping ventures or mass production and it be good, you know, for the environment. But I think it would be astronomically better. So environmentally speaking, you know, we should probably protect the rock we live on. But I mean, in kind of the well-being aspect for humans, I do think that does exist as well. I don't really talk much about health benefits.
Yeah, that would be my question, because I'm just going to give you a little backstory. I always remember what my father used to say, because back in the day in Germany, we had the Jehovah's Witness, and they would always knock on our door and they would tell us about their religion. And my dad would always say, well, what's the benefit? What's in it for me? How will my life improve, essentially? So my simple question is just, by going vegan, what is the real improvement, the benefit that they're getting out of the message? Because for me, I went vegan for ethical reasons, but then in the end ended up with absolutely terrible health in my 20s. So what would be the benefit for humans in going vegan, following the animal rights path, so to speak? What are they getting themselves into?
I think I explained some of that. I can go further, but
sure.
I think probably that way of even thinking about it in the first place is a problem.
Why?
Because I don't think, when we're talking about other sentient beings, I don't think one of the first questions should be what's in it for me. I think that leads to overall bad outcomes, because if you have everyone thinking, well, what's in it for me? If held consistent, I don't think we would look out for the well-being of others. Because, or if you say if you want to help someone or not directly violate their rights, you could say, oh, what's in it for me? And maybe for some people that'd be, well, I'm just not violating someone else's rights. That's another thing that for me, like, it's in it for me to be like, oh, well, I've not paid for animals to directly be killed, exploited. So
Sure. But I would say that if there is a health risk, as we saw, for example, I've been doing this for 3 years now, right? I'm an ex-vegan for 3 years. And over those 3 years, we had, honestly, hundreds, if not thousands of people dropping out of veganism and being quite thankful for the information that we're putting out here. And they didn't expect that their health would suffer by going vegan. So I'm going to give you again an anecdote, because vegans love anecdotes. When I went,
I love them.
we love
They're
them.
my favorite.
Yeah. When I went vegan, the reasoning behind it was ethical, because I thought it's wrong to eat animals. That's my upbringing, essentially. I was watching a lot of Disney movies. You could contribute to that, or just in general, whatever. I thought it's wrong, and therefore I informed myself thoroughly. So the health aspect was a crucial factor for me, because if the baseline would be that you have to be unhealthy in order to save the animals, that would be irrational and wouldn't make sense. I mean, especially on a societal context, if everybody gets sick by eating vegan or has an impaired ability, as I always say, smaller brain size, etc., that would be an issue. And on that note, you quote me as well. I said, look it up. I can actually show you something on that note as well. A bit later, we can look into the neuroscience of it too. Mm-hmm. That being said, if we see an impairment in health for humans, that is not how we can run our society as a whole, because then we really have an issue. We have impaired health. So how should we sacrifice our whole society then for health? For the animals, rather.
Well, yeah, first you'd have to demonstrate that it's actually leading to negative health outcomes, because we could say, I know you mentioned this, like smaller brain size.
Sure.
Well, one of the issues is, well, can we even conclude from this that this leads to negative health outcomes? What is the reason?
The smaller brain?
Yeah, like, does that even entail that? That's what needs to be, looked up on. So if this study that you're mentioning like says this, and it says, oh, well, we can conclude from this, or this would lead to negative health outcomes, then that would perhaps be an issue. However,
sure.
I'm appealing to the hierarchy of scientific evidence. I'm not looking at anecdotes, because there's so much room in them for, lack of controlled variables. There's the placebo effect. People's own perspectives can lead to them observing and perceiving things that don't even exist. So I can't appeal to that. So I'm looking, at things like the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, for example, and I'm seeing they and NHS are saying that plant-based diet is suitable for all stages of life. So I'm just. Yeah, we
talked about that here on the channel as well. This is already like 2 years ago or so, and we had essentially somebody that left the World Health Organization. Unfortunately, I forgot his name, man. I should have looked this up. A specific doctor, and he talked about how they conducted that vegan diets are suitable for everyone. And in the end, it was a scandal, because it was a majority vote by people working in the World Health Organization that were vegetarians. And it wasn't really scientific at all. This is why he left the World Health Organization. But nevertheless, about the brain size, I just want to show you this. 1 second, here we go. Because yes, it is true. I usually don't show many studies, because I kind of appeal to common sense, if you will. But this here is on neurosciencenews.com. It's an article on vegan and plant-based diets that worsen brain health. Here a summary. Eating a vegan or plant-based diet can be bad for your brain health, especially if you already have a low choline intake, researchers report, right? So I could read the whole thing now, but we have over and over and over people reporting on tremendous brain fog, concentration problems, depression. Even the big YouTubers such as Vegan Gains and whatnot, they're all depressed, or they have social anxiety, which is of course a sign of low choline as well. And it's just a reoccurring theme. It's nothing out of the ordinary for vegans anymore.
Oh, wait, is your internet bugging out, or is it mine? My internet just bugged out. I don't know if it's you or me. I think I'm fine. Nothing's bugging out on my end.
Everything seems fine here too. The connection is still on.
All right, okay.
All good.
Okay. Yeah, so I would be interested in seeing, like, at the end there, because usually when you see these things that say, oh, this could be potentially bad, usually it says something like, oh, well, just ensure that you're supplementing this nutrient. And I'm wondering if in that article, if you don't mind sending it to myself.
Sure, I can do that. No worries.
Yeah, and yeah, a lot of the time it is a case of, oh,
I'm going to send it to you via the chat in Hangouts.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So you can check it out there. Anyways, that being said, again, there are many articles, maybe some conflicting studies. In the end, what I'm interested with here on this channel is people that have real life issues and how we can fix them. And up until now, within those 3 years, I couldn't see one case where we could fix those problems within a plant-based diet. Again, a little bit of background info on me here. I'm a fitness trainer. I've been really involved in the fields of nutrition pretty much since I'm 12 years old. This is when I started my first diet. I was a chubby kid. I was a bit overweight, and I stumbled across a ladies magazine that said the secret to weight loss is stop eating after 8. I did that when I was 12 years old. It was intermittent fasting, and it worked out well. Since then, I tried pretty much every diet there is. I did the keto diet, primal diet, paleo diet, you name it. I did them all, and I know that veganism is not classically considered a diet. Nevertheless, I did the plant-based diet, then I did them all. And ultimately, when we encounter certain health issues, especially here on the channel, I haven't seen one successful approach to fixing those issues with a plant-based diet, especially when it comes down to brain fog and digestive stress. Those are the two big ones. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, so I've just looked at the article that you've sent me, and it does say at the bottom, if choline is not obtained in the levels needed for dietary sources per se, then supplementation strategies will be required, especially in relation to key stages of life cycle. So
exactly, they have to say that, yes.
Right there is the solution in a plant-based.
Yeah, but the issue is sure. The issue is with supplementation, of course, they see the saturation levels of certain supplements in the blood, and that is because they end up in the blood. That is true. So you can see higher levels of certain vitamins that are supplemented within the blood, but that doesn't equate to saturation within the tissues, and they don't do the studies on the tissue samples, and this is why we have this issue in the end, because you can see quite often that people, such as vegans, that supplement with B12 still get deficient in B12. And this when they have to, that's why, and then they have to change certain supplements, and it still doesn't work properly. So supplements are not a guarantee every single time that they will actually work.
It depends on the supplement, like you're talking about B12. So like when I worked in a hospital, there are a lot of people who were given B12 injections specifically with B12. Malabsorption is a big problem, and that's not just the case of vegans. That's like, I think a few years ago, something like 38% of the US were B12 deficient. It's like a large issue, and it's likely due to a lot of people not even be able to fully absorb or not actually getting it through their diet.
Sure, of course, I would agree with that because.
So I just sorry.
No, keep on.
My brain
I interrupted you.
No,
I interrupted. It's fine. We have manners here.
Yeah, of course, but when you're talking about certain supplements, if you're going to make the claim, oh well, will these supplements even be absorbed? Well, we're going to have to look at the specific supplement. Is this problem going to be an issue for vegans? Are they not going to be able to supplement, or are they not going to be able to get choline in their diet? Or is this just something that they need to look out for and ensure that they are making measures?
So the reason why I mentioned this, and I would agree with you here, because most people nowadays, they are already on a plant-based diet not knowing it. That is the fact, and people don't take that into consideration. They're talking about meat eaters, but they completely forget apparently that 60 to 80% of the calorie intake nowadays in the West is plants. So that could be due to breads, that can be due to seed oils, that can be due to other vegetables. If you eat, for example, a hamburger and pride yourself in being a meat eater, that is ridiculous. Because if you take a Big Mac, for example, that thing has 3 slices of bread and 2 thin slices of meat, a bunch of sauces and lettuce on top, and onions. That is already plant-based, and people don't understand that because the term plant-based is now associated with veganism. Plant-based is predominantly plants. The West eats predominantly plants, and then when we talk about that they have issues with B12 absorption, 100%, absolutely. If you consume a bunch of grains every single day, you can damage your gut lining, and that can lead to absorption issues. I would agree right away. So vegans and people that eat predominantly plants will have equal issues, 100%.
I don't know if you can actually like claim that is indeed the case. And you
Sure.
say 60%. Like, have you read that somewhere?
Yeah, 100%. 60 to 80%, and you just have to look into the American standard diet, what they're eating. They're eating potatoes, they're eating grains in terms of rice, in terms of pasta, in terms of wheat, and they're eating some vegetables, some fruits. Sure.
But when we're looking at, like, say, for example, the 40% that they are getting, we'd have to establish, okay, well, they're not eating enough, like, meat, like, specifically. And when we're looking at
Exactly.
B12, again, we'd have to establish the supplements they're using, maybe the nutritional yeast they're eating, or, maybe they're getting injections. We'd have to isolate those from the course. So I don't think that we can even make that claim. That's
What claim?
why, like, because people are plant-based, this is why the issue is
No, not.
actually
I mean, we can definitely see the correlation with celiac disease and Crohn's disease and wheat. I mean, gluten, for example, is very problematic. I think you would agree there. Why is it problematic? It is a sticky protein that is found in certain plants and that can damage gut lining. Lectins can do the same thing. There's a bunch of
it's a different
anti-nutrients within
conversation,
plants.
because obviously,
Wait, hey. Wait, let me finish as well. I'll let you finish too, all right?
Well, I just want to just say with the gluten, when we talk about gluten, like, a lot of the issue, we're making all these claims about, oh, well, this is why that's the problem. But when we're looking at something like gluten, a lot of the issue is apparently because of how heavily processed and far removed it is from, what we were, the bread we were eating, hundreds of years ago.
You're talking about glyphosate. You're talking about glyphosate there, for example. But nevertheless, it doesn't matter if you are glyphosate sprayed or not. Gluten in itself, even if you take the organic version of it, you can still see that it can lead to celiac disease in certain people, not only with gluten intolerance. And that is well documented over the years, of course, that certain grains do damage our digestion, and that leads to leaky gut. This is something, for example, that Vegetable Police is battling with. He went back to veganism, still has the same suffering, and I saw it over and over and over again. And I know, again, people, we can go through the whole internet and search for the studies now. If you want to, we can do that. Kind of boring. We can talk about certain anecdotes. That's boring for you. Doesn't matter. The point of the story is, why does meat resolve the issue and the grains do not?
Well, okay, well, we could throw this back at you. Do you consume dairy and eggs?
Dairy and eggs, yes, absolutely.
Well, they're high allergens as well.
No, they're not.
So loads of people are allergic to egg and dairy. In fact, that's why in the UK we have them bolded as allergens on our ingredients list.
Sure, when you cook
so
them.
Many people are.
Yeah, when you cook them, when you, for example, pasteurize the dairy, this is where you have an intolerance. Because in the dairy you have a thing called lactase, which is an enzyme. So now if you're lactose intolerant, you would have to go to the pharmacy and they will give you lactase as an enzyme pill. If you have raw milk, on the other hand, guess what? The lactase enzyme is still intact, and in 90 to 100% of the cases that I encountered, when they drink raw milk, people with intolerance, lactose intolerance, do perfectly fine.
Is this the case for raw eggs?
Yes, absolutely.
Someone allergic to eggs,
100%.
they can eat a raw egg.
100%. You can try it
I
out.
would recommend anyone who possibly is allergic to eggs to do
I
it.
eat roughly 6 to sometimes 10 raw eggs daily.
But are you allergic to eggs?
Not at all. Not in its raw state. When I'm eating them cooked, I encounter discomfort as well.
Are you someone who has been in the past allergic to cooked or raw eggs?
I have a slight intolerance to cooked eggs. I wouldn't say that I'm dying. It's not that bad. I have an intolerance to them when they're cooked. Raw, I absorb them perfectly well. Yeah, but I know firsthand people that are allergic to dairy and to eggs. Yes, I do. And both cases, consumed raw, all good. I don't hear you.
Would recommend someone who is allergic to... You can't hear me?
No, now I can again. Yes, all good.
Okay, sorry. I think it's the internet. So would you recommend anyone who's allergic to, or someone who's allergic to eggs, you would recommend them to eat them raw?
I would try it raw. I would go with one raw egg yolk and go from there. Yeah.
Even if they're deathly allergic?
I would definitely try it out.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Okay, right. So basically, I think we should steer away from the health claims, because obviously a lot of claims are being made and there's causation where I don't think it can even, be stated. And when I'm giving examples of things, you're saying, oh, well, look at gluten. It's something that people are allergic to. You're making the claim that, oh, well, as long as it's raw, then you can, eat these animal products. And I don't think that's a safe thing to recommend.
It is.
But
no, it absolutely is, as I said, because the enzymes that are found in those foods that help you in their digestion are destroyed whilst cooking them. So therefore, if you consume them raw, you will see that there will be no issue whatsoever. This is why I would definitely recommend trying them raw, especially raw dairy.
I would recommend anyone who hears you, if you are allergic to eggs, please do not consume eggs, even if they're raw. Like that, like no matter what, do not try it, especially if you're deathly allergic. I don't think it's worth the risk, and I don't think it really adds to the point that you were talking about beforehand. Okay, well, gluten, there's these things that are, unhealthy for you. I'm looking at the hierarchy of scientific evidence. The highest evidence points towards plant-based diets being suitable for all.
Who says that?
Recommends that's so the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, the NHS, and various other organizations.
Yeah, sure. Who funds them?
I don't know why that matters.
Oh, okay. That doesn't matter. But if something has been funded by the bad meat and dairy industry, then it matters, of course.
Well, fine, where I've made that claim.
That's what vegans say all the time.
Okay, well, you
asked why does it matter. You asked why does it matter.
Another anti-vegan the other day where they were making.
You asked why does it matter.
Vegans say this, and I'm like, I'm the vegan here talking to you.
Fair enough.
And
so fair enough. So why does it matter that something is funded by a certain industry? I think you can explain why that would matter, right? There would be an interest in that. No?
Yeah, there's absolutely interest. But as well as that, you've got to look at what the interest is. Of course, if say, for example, of course you're going to want something that's positive, but someone's going to also have interest in actually funding something because they are that company. So say, for example, I make a baked good and I want to have positive outcomes. Of course, I would then fund something that's about baked goods because, that's where my interest is. That doesn't suddenly mean that by merit, it's fallacious what comes. It doesn't mean by merit, what's happening is
fair enough. Fair enough. So I think it's easier when we just say, okay, so therefore it actually doesn't matter. So therefore talking about the Dietetics Association is an appeal to authority. So let's not talk about it at all. So then let me ask.
Oh, we need to make that clear. So
why?
You're talking, because an appeal to authority, when people are talking about that negatively, they're talking about an appeal to authority fallacy. It's not fallacious to appeal to authority when I go to the doctor who's an orthopedic surgeon and get them to do my leg for me.
That is literally what it is. If we're talking about the Dietetics Association, it's literally a appeal to authority. And in that case, it is a fallacy if you say then that therefore it is right. Because we are adhering to the hierarchy of evidence, so therefore Dietetics Association, so therefore right. That is an appeal to authority fallacy. Come on.
Is it fallacious for me to trust my plumber when they tell me what to do with my toilet?
It is definitely fallacious to trust the Dietetics Association where you don't even have considered what kind of funding they have received. That is definitely fallacious.
Well, plumbers get paid, and they have an interest in having blocked drains so that they can actually come and fix it again. So if they tell me to do something, should I be like, oh, you're funded by my failings, my toilet's failings?
That's actually a great example.
I can't really trust what you say.
That's actually a great example because then I could say, the doctor profits from me going back to the doctor. So probably he wouldn't make me super healthy, but keep me in a state of sickness so I can go back to the doctor. It's the same example.
So I'm demonstrating how that's actually not a good example because I doubt that you think, oh, well, the IT technician, he's trying to fix my computer, but he's probably going to break it so that I come to him again in 6 months. Yeah. I doubt that you do that with a plumber. I don't do that.
No, so because the IT technician, depending on which organization you work with, they set certain things up that you then have to pay monthly. Anyways, point of the story is, if we're talking about science, let's talk about science for a second, and then I would like to move into ethics or whatever you like to talk about, because I brought up the health. It is on my behalf here. If we're talking about science, why don't we talk about the nutrients that we cannot find in plants? How about vitamin A?
Well, hang on. I thought we were talking about ethics, sorry.
No, I said then we can move on. If you want to talk about science bit.
So I've already established, and you know from my channel that I don't talk about health, and I don't...
Okay, sure thing. No worries. Yeah. Okay, so let me just sum it up for the viewers. Guys, no worries. We're going to move on to ethics now. What I just like to say, ending on science, is that we don't find vitamin A, vitamin B6 in certain forms, B12, D3, K2, creatine, carnitine, carnosine, taurine, heme iron, collagen, CLA, DHA, and EPA in plants. They all need to be converted, and that can lead to issues in some
Okay, if you're inserting the bit at the end, I'd just like to quickly insert that
Sure.
some of those aren't essential nutrients and
Yes, they are.
can be supplemented.
No, they are.
Okay, well, we won't get into a debate about how like heme iron's essential because I'm
Carnitin, creatine, they're essential amino acids, so they are by definition essential.
Yeah,
they're
but heme iron essential?
Yes, for some people they're anemic. It is.
Okay, so
Yes.
we will not go through that. Let's go to the ethics.
No worries. Ethics. You're the vegan. Why is it ethical to be vegan? Why is it not ethical to eat meat?
Absolutely. So there's no morally relevant difference between humans and other animals that would justify their exploitation and killing. Therefore, to not be vegan is to be inconsistent and be engaging in rights violations that I personally wouldn't engage in with human beings. So why would I for other animals?
So does that mean that, I mean, you said in the beginning, animals and humans are practically the same?
Not the same. We are animals. We're part of the mammalian subset. We are mammals.
We are animals.
We are mammals, yeah, so animals.
So if we're animals, we can eat other animals, right?
No, because they also, am I allowed to say derogatory, like...
if you must, we're always nice here,
yeah.
but if you must.
They, you know, they rape each other. They, like if their baby comes out and they look different or there's something about them that's like not agreeable, they'll like leave them to starve to death or they'll kill them. You know, they'll kill other babies to display dominance and stuff like that. So though, you know, a vegan is saying, oh, there's no morally relevant difference between them and us, therefore don't kill them, even though they kill each other. We don't appeal to their behavior. We do acknowledge that there are differences between humans and other animals, whereby we can, you know, possess and express moral agency. It's just that there's no difference that means they're below this threshold, whereby we can now slit their throats.
But that's confusing to me, right? Because I'm dummy Bobby, I'm the anti-vegan, I don't have much of a brain size myself, even though I'm eating so much cholesterol. I'm really trying to wrap my head around this. So we are animals just like other animals, but at the same time, other animals do kill their own babies, they rape, they do all kinds of atrocious quote-unquote acts. But we are supposed not to do them, even though we see that in certain situations, for example, right now we have the Russia and Ukraine war, that God forbid could lead to more war in Europe, and you will see then, again, God forbid, many more atrocious acts, quote-unquote, of humans killing, slaughtering, doing all kinds of things. So apparently we are just those animals then, and nothing really stops us. So I'm really wondering, where does our moral come from? What's the reasoning for it? Why should we stop?
So the morals, where they come from, is that, you know, the kind of like you know, meta ethics and stuff like that. It's a very big discussion. So where they come from, I can't really tell you. But when you know, we are able to develop language and have conversations and talk in binaries and understand, oh, this bad, this good, you know, and we kind of attach that a lot to feeling. Some people think there's some sort of objective morality. However, I think we can establish, no matter whether you're an objectivist or a subjectivist, that we wouldn't wish to be exploited. We wouldn't wish to be harmed, killed, and subjected to the things that we see happen to other animals. So, you know, it will follow that we don't push that on others. And, you know, when we're developing societies and we're able to work outside of nature, we are developing like human rights, where we have these kind of discussions about, you know, protecting each other.
Yeah, so, but that would be anthropomorphism, right? So we assume that because it feels bad to us, therefore it must feel a certain way to the animal, and therefore it equates bad.
No, that wouldn't be anthropomorphism, because that's not specifically a human trait to run away from pain. You know, if every animal were to put their hand on a hot stove, they would almost always, like a human, avoid that pain.
The avoidance of pain, of course, that is not to be debated. But what I'm saying is the implication of the suffering and the emotional understanding of that suffering is, of course, anthropomorphism, if we believe that the animals see it in the same way. I mean, if I get into the sun, then my skin cell will get browner because of melatonin. That's a reaction as well. So the animal runs away from the lion, for example. That is not the same thing.
Oh, no, absolutely not, because it's even in the human context, humans don't see these things in the same way. So it's a very strange kind of framing. Yeah. Animals, regarding, you know, there are some animals who can see 10 times the amount of colors we can see. They're having very different experiences. Dogs, pigs can smell more than we can. They are having a different experience. From what we can, understand and research of them, even with cows, for example, they can experience emotional contagion, which, would suggest that they can express, empathy. And we were able to measure that, not necessarily through human traits, but traits that we've associated with, responding to negativity or stressful situations.
So would you say, therefore, that eating animals is bad? So I'm just understanding, eating animals is bad because of suffering they feel?
Not necessarily suffering. It's a rights violation. And I believe rights violations are wrong.
But they don't have any rights to begin with.
Well, so obviously these are assigned, but I mean moral rights. So intrinsic to the individual. When we're born into the world, even if I'm not part of a country that assigns me human rights, I have a moral right to not be violated.
Yeah, but that would be an intrinsic value. And if you look then into nature, the animals eat each other. So obviously they don't have the rights that you're speaking about.
No, absolutely. So if they're in nature, but I'm not physically able to violate their rights out in nature by, going to the supermarket and picking out the meat.
Yeah, but if we're talking about rights, it's a very complicated subject because, for example, the EU and the NATO, they don't agree with Russia now. So therefore, they're going to send their troops there because they see it as a human rights violation, what is going on in the Ukraine, and therefore they're going to assist the Ukrainians. So therefore, you as a vegan that advocates for animal rights, you should care about all the millions and billions of animals that have their rights violated in nature as well. So what would you do?
Yeah, so that's a discussion. It's a discussion within the vegan community. I'm not really sure, pretty smooth-brained over here, so those discussions kind of far out my scope. But for what it is, concerning veganism right now, all I'm asking people to be is consistent, within their lifestyle and their behavior when it comes to other animals, to as much as possible and practical, which is veganism. So I don't want to directly contribute to rights violations if I can avoid doing so. There's certain habits that I have in life that mean that I try and avoid that, and veganism is just an extension of that.
I don't understand. I really mean this is honest here. I really don't understand where those animal rights come from, or those right violations in general in your mind, because again, in nature they're not there. In our society we don't have them either for our livestock. So what are you talking about? I really don't get it.
Okay, but we have them for humans, yeah?
For humans, we have certain rights in place that I personally disagree with, though, but that is a different topic.
So basically, I'm talking, just to be clear, other animals wouldn't certainly need, some of the rights that some humans have, and some humans don't necessarily even have that right regarding where they are in the stage of their life. So like the right to vote, for example, like they wouldn't need the right to vote, because we
Thank
would
God.
but yeah, with that. But what I mean is the basic right to not be violated, to not be objectified, exploited, and killed.
Yeah, okay, but you want to establish those rights. Is that correct?
No, those rights already exist to some extent. So, for example, with the RSPCA, so prevention of cruelty to animals, we recognise that when someone does violate the right of, say, a dog, that they suffer the repercussions. That's something that's socially frowned upon to do. Okay. So we do see it with some animals. However, it's not held consistent.
So are you appealing, I really try to wrap my head around this, so are you appealing just to Europe now, where dogs are not eaten and treated in a certain way? Because in China you can eat dogs. So what rights are we talking about? Are you advocating to establish those rights, or do you want to extend the rights that are already in place?
So yeah, I want them held consistently. So obviously I'm looking at an EU framework. So using the example I see in front of me of like dogs and cats, we hold them to a higher standard, or horses in the UK. And we would see, if someone did that, even in the UK, someone kicked and slapped a cat, and people wanted, their career taken from them and everything like that. I think we recognise that to do those things is something that's not good for that animal. It's not in their best interest. So I want to extend it to as many animals as I possibly can in an ideal world.
Okay, so you would take the, let's say, liberal values that we have in our Western societies and extend those.
What do you mean by liberal?
I would say that we live in a secular, liberal Western world, no matter if it is the UK, Germany, France, where I'm in right now, or even America. And therefore...
it's just because there's different liberals, isn't there? So, yeah, I'm not sure.
It's still a liberal worldview, no matter how you look at it. I mean, after the Enlightenment, after the Enlightenment age, with the French Revolution, what we have nowadays is essentially liberalism in different shapes and forms, but nevertheless liberalism that then constituted as well the so-called human rights and goes from there, right? So is that an extension?
Yeah, I'm just looking for them to have the right to not be exploited and killed, similar to, what we would have with dogs and cats to some degree, yeah.
And why would the normal, common, average person care for that?
So why would they care? So because I think typically we display empathy and we can understand, that other animals they're not like rocks, they're not plants, they are indeed sentient beings with their own individuals having their own experience. And we can understand that they would be having a negative experience if they were to, be kicked, stabbed, killed, and we wouldn't want that for them. So if we could avoid doing so, it would be in our interest to do so. And we see that, I think, time and time again with people, wanting to save animals. Everyone calls themselves an animal lover, but when it actually comes to, okay, well, a lot of, to be clear, a lot of people, feel proud to call themselves animal lovers. And again, there's no morally relevant difference between them and us. So I'd be like, well, it's the same kind of question for when it comes to humans of,
you really don't think
what would be in it for them.
You really don't think there is a moral difference between humans and animals, between humans and a cockroach, for example? You really don't see that?
No. So let me reframe it so you can. So I say there's no morally relevant difference between humans and other animals that would justify exploiting and killing them. I understand there's probably morally relevant differences when it comes to the hierarchy of sentience or anything like that. I'm not sure on that, and I think there should be more time to kind of consider that. But in a burning building situation, I'd say the human over the cockroach, the dog over the cockroach. I know there's some.
That's good.
I know there's some differences in that, but what I'm interested in, and all that veganism is seemingly calling for, is to understand, that there is no morally relevant difference between humans and other animals. That means animals are under this threshold where now we can exploit them, kill them, gas them, take the babies from them, do all the things that we do to them. When we can avoid doing so. Yeah,
from my worldview, I would say that's a very dangerous path because it can lead to moral relativism, essentially led to moral relativism that we see within the Western societies, especially because people just see themselves as animals and they can just follow their pleasures and their urges. And that manifests, of course, in the pop culture that we see nowadays, where people just, throw their morals out of the window because they're just animals. They can do anything anyways. But hey, after all, don't hurt the other animals. You're an animal, but you're a compassionate animal. It's a very irrational doctrine.
Well, I think that's because the view from which you view an animal is different from the way a vegan views an animal. We are seeing them as individuals. Like, I think people think, oh, you're just an animal, you're an animal. It's like this negative connotation. I don't know how we can see that and think, oh yeah, that's going to lead to people thinking they're just these animals who can do whatever they want to do. And just what we are asking for is their autonomy to be respected insofar as they are seen as individuals. So
but that's not correct, because you said yourself they rape and they kill their babies. You displayed them as vicious creatures, so it wasn't even me. I say that animals, just to clarify, I say that animals are just animals and they have their function, and everything has its function within this beautiful ecosystem, and that's it. Everything has its function. The bees have their function, the cockroach has the function, the mosquito has the function, we have our function. Everything has its own unique function, and that's it. And you shouldn't break that cycle.
There are absolutely animals who do that. I think primarily most are herbivorous. They're very peaceful animals, but there are some animals who, are repeatedly seen, observed doing very heinous things. But that is also the case with human beings. I don't then suddenly think all human beings are monsters. And as well as that, there is the issue of moral agency. I think you and I both, when it comes to, say, like a child or someone with a cognitive condition whereby it means they lack capacity, we understand that they may engage in a behavior that's bizarre or even morally wrong, but we do treat it differently. So say a toddler kills someone, but then a 32-year-old with capacity kills someone. Do you think that they are coming from the same place and they've both done the same? My
question is, how does the toddler kill someone? How does that work?
Like, say, I don't know, it could be anything. They're very, what's the word I'm looking for? Accident prone.
Okay, then it's just an accident.
Okay, well, let's Exactly. So the place in which
Either way.
individual's coming from is very different. Okay, so let's put it. Okay, so a 5-year-old, I think they have. There are 5-year-olds who have murdered.
I want to see the 5-year-old that kills me. Honestly, I want to see that.
Yeah, okay,
Let's go.
Well,
Let's go, 5-year-olds.
We had an issue in the UK with this case of John Venables, who was about an 11-year-old boy who took a
11.
baby. Yeah. So, but do you think they are that an individual who's like 11 years old, if they murder someone, it's the exact same?
11 is a different type of deal already, because with 11, many boys, they already hit puberty at 11, so they start to ejaculate, they become fertile in that sense. So it's a different type of rationale that I attribute to an 11-year-old already than to a 5-year-old or toddler. 100%.
I mean, okay, so I'm pretty sure there have been accounts. I watch a lot of documentaries of true crime, and I'm pretty sure I watched one of a 6-year-old. So let's say 6-year-old. Do you think that a 6-year-old murdering someone, they've thought, I want to kill my mum?
How did he murder? How did he murder his mum? What's the context?
No. So I can't fully remember if they were 6 or not. But say this is just a hypothetical. So say like, a 6-year-old just wants to murder their mum. So they murder their mum, but then a 32-year-old man wants to murder his mum. He murders his mum. Do you see these as the same in every way and think that one...
Honestly, not to be misleading or anything, I really would need a context for both cases equally.
Okay.
I would really need a context for both cases.
Say in both cases, the mum was perfectly okay. She didn't abuse them. She was a lovely mum. They both just had a desire to kill their mother. But one was 6, one was 32. That's the only thing that's different. Yeah,
both would go to jail and get punishment on my watch.
Absolutely, but are they the same wrong in every context? Like, do you recognize that the child, they aren't a moral agent and they aren't, at that point aware of consequence and aware of the repercussions of their actions and don't really know right from wrong by that point?
That's a deep question, man. For that, we would have to establish what is right and wrong. How do we judge them? In which kind of system? I would just judge them the same for now.
Okay, well,
just for the sake of the argument.
I think moral agency, is very important. We do have, like in the UK, I don't know if this, it probably extends elsewhere under different names, but we have the Capacity Act. If someone lacks capacity, then they're physically not really aware of sometimes moral right or the other, things in their own life. But we can measure to a degree that an individual could not be as held responsible for their actions as much as another given person. So that's why I say when it comes to other animals, they aren't, or they are to a lesser degree moral agents. So I see it in a different view. Okay,
I get it. So let me clarify. So in a perfect world where we have all the animal rights in place that you would like to see, there it comes down to moral agency in punishment. So that is to be considered. So now you live in that perfect world. You're already vegan. You eat vegan schnitzel, tofu. You feel fantastic. All good. So now I come along and I go into the forest because I can't find any food, no butcher, no nothing. So I go to the forest and I kill a squirrel and I eat it. So now the police comes and puts me under arrest. And now I have to talk in front of the courtroom. And they ask me, what was your motivation behind it, etc., etc. And they find out that I have absolutely no moral consideration for a squirrel. I don't see it as equal. I don't see it as anything that should be protected. I have absolutely no hard feelings about it. I have no moral agency considering that is something wrong. And on that note, I think that most people see it the same way. But anyways, what happens with me? So I don't go to jail because I have less moral agency then?
Well, that's why people plead insanity, so they can get less time. That's what they're doing when they're pleading insanity. They're saying, I lacked the moral agency. I have this condition that stunts my ability to understand, right from wrong in this regard, and therefore I should be punished less. So yeah, absolutely, it would be the same.
Yeah, but that is very interesting, right? Because that would imply then that nowadays, at least 90% or so of people don't have that moral worldview like the vegans do. Otherwise, they wouldn't eat meat. So how come?
Yeah. Well, absolutely.
Are they all insane?
We see that over and over again throughout history. Sorry if I'm over talking because there's some connection issues. Are you speaking right now or?
No, go. I'm hanging back.
What the fuck?
Should we reconnect? You're kind of disappearing.
Sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you are frozen.
Oh no, I think am I back on this planet? Am I?
You're back, but 1 second, Ellie. Could it be
a lovely picture?
Could it be due to the OBS and the Streamlabs that you're running both at the same time? How about you?
Do you think?
How about you try to link the virtual camera just to one of them? So, for example, I think right now you have the OBS virtual cam running. Why don't you run the virtual cam over Streamlabs? Yeah. You can try that.
It wouldn't bloody work. That's what was annoying. When I turned off OBS, I'll turn it off, and if it dies, then I'm sorry.
No worries. Let's try.
See. Okay. Am I? Am I frozen? Am I with you?
You're still with me, but with very little frames.
What the hell is this? This is brilliant.
Did you close OBS now?
Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've closed. Oh wait, hang on.
That's better.
Yeah, well, no, I'm gonna do it. Well, it's better, but I haven't closed OBS, so I don't know what's happened there.
Okay.
I think it was a blip. I think we should just carry on in good spirit.
Yeah,
so
nevertheless,
it
works.
What were you saying beforehand? Sorry.
Yeah, the last thing that I said is that right now we find ourselves in a situation where roughly 90% of people have that moral state in which they say, I really don't care for killing animals. I like eating animals. It's fine. I know firsthand butchers, hunters, farmers. They really have nowhere near your worldview, obviously. Otherwise, they would be vegans. They practice animal husbandry. They practice butchering, slaughtering themselves, and they simply don't see it that way at all. So my question is, of course, what do we base it on? It is now your subjective moral worldview, but it's not something that is shared by 90% of the many. Are they all insane? Are they all mentally ill? What is going on there?
Yeah, so we see this throughout history, things that, we move forward as societies, and like things that we would look back on and think, oh my God, how could people ever do that? They could have held the view that, okay, well, women aren't actually, first-class citizens. They shouldn't have the right to vote. I agree with that. They aren't actually like people. You agree with that? Yeah, I've seen some of your views elsewhere. It's pain, Bobby. It's pain. But yeah, we could maybe go into that another time. But okay.
The biggest issue that happened to Western society is that women started voting. I just have to say that. It's one of the biggest issues. Yeah.
Okay, Bobby.
It's a different topic.
Yeah. So, but you understand, right, that the view that you hold now, at one point, that was the consensus among like a given society, like maybe in the UK, the US, and no longer is at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree. Yeah, because I see it as progressivism that doesn't go really forward, but sideways and backwards. It's not really a progressiveness into goodness, but rather into further degeneracy. That's what I see with this society. So I'm not a fan of the Western society itself.
Through women voting?
Oh, yeah.
Partially.
Yeah. That's bad, huh?
Oh, I don't know if I feel like we should go into this another time, because I'd have a lovely time.
That's cool. Well, that's a topic for another day. Anyways.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But basically, I think what's important, like, to ask is, what is the morally relevant difference between humans and other animals that would justify exploiting and killing them? Because I can't find it personally.
1 second. Now I have to interrupt. It knocks on my door. I just have to let my woman in. 1 second.
Bloody woman, don't let her vote.
Bloody woman. Yeah, no, never. Quick interruption, guys. Back in a second.
Thank you, Kirsten. Thank you, interruption. I'm laughing because it's bad. I just, otherwise I'll cry. Yeah, out of discomfort. Obviously, I'm laughing because I clearly agree. Me as a lesbian woman, I clearly, agree. Yeah, discomfort, pure. Run the woman, slap the woman, put the woman in their place.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Here we
put
are.
The woman in their place. Let's
the woman
go.
Went to the kitchen now. It's all good.
Oh,
everything's back in order.
Sandwich making.
Finally.
How do you feel about, offhandedly? Because obviously, my woman will be here in about half an hour.
You have a woman as well.
Like even worse? I have a woman. Yeah.
I hope you treat her well.
Of course. I don't let her vote, of course.
No, thank God.
Oh God,
Okay, where were we?
Yeah, I asked you what the whether or not there was actually a morally relevant difference between humans and other animals that would justify exploiting and killing them.
Oh, that was the question. Yeah, absolutely, of course. Is that name the trait? Are we playing name the trait?
Marginal cases, they're quite similar. Nom trait, yeah.
Let's name the trait, right? I would say that if we play name the trait, I would bite. I would say let's play name the trait or let's name the morals or whatever. But I would have a proposition for you to keep it fair, because I think that many vegans are kind of disingenuous when they do it, because they go into all kinds of deviances and essentially deviating from the norm of what it means to be human in order to prove the point. I just would like to establish first that if we talk, for example, about a dog, we know what a dog is. It has 4 legs, 4 paws, it has a pretty long tongue, 2 ears, sharp teeth. So that's usually a dog. So now if we talk about, yeah, but there are dogs that have only 3 legs or only 2 legs, they're in a wheelchair. Yes, sure, that is a dog as well, but that deviates from the norm of what we have as an understanding of a dog. So for the sake of the argument, I think it would be only fair if when we are talking about humans and animals, we're not talking about deviations, but we're talking about the actual norm, what it defines to be a human or a dog or a pig. I think that would be only fair.
I mean, I can absolutely do that, but I will say that, hypotheticals, even when you take them out of real-world examples, are important to establish whether or not your argument is consistent. So, I mean, I can keep it to real-world examples, but is why that's why those are even brought up in the first place, and this extends past, veganism. It's just to test whether or not your position is consistent.
As I said, as long as we stay within the framework that we don't go into all kinds of deviations and abnormalities, let's go.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. Well, so yeah, as I asked, like, is there a morally relevant difference between, I don't want to say it, for the 30th time, but is there one that would justify exploiting and killing them, and what is it?
Sure. So, out of my worldview, the human being is created in the image of God, in an exalted position to have dominion over the rest of the world. That is my worldview. So the attribute itself, if you want to narrow it down, is being a human, is being the image of God, is being in an exalted position, which correlates to the intrinsic value that you talked prior to. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So in your view, anyone who is not a human, so any animal like a dog, cat, chicken, pig, any of them, because they're not human, they are now underneath this threshold whereby you can exploit them, you can kill them, you can do what you want to them,
sure,
because they're not human.
Yes.
Okay, so why is that the case? Because you say dominion?
Yeah, again, as I said, because we are created by God with an exalted position. Yeah.
But so does he say anywhere, does he mandate that we should, given being humans, that we should absolutely just kill any other animal?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not every other animal. There are certain animals that are prohibited, of course, but the majority of animals are good to eat. What is good to eat is good to eat.
So no, I'm not just talking about eating, I'm talking about exploiting and killing. We use them in other contexts, veganism extends past.
Exploiting and killing are, of course, certain terms that are being thrown around by vegans that I don't agree with necessarily. Animals are there for food and for use as well. Yes.
Yeah, so when I say exploiting, I'm just, what I'm saying, and as far as I'm aware, the definition is using someone, against their best interests in often cases.
Exactly, but this is where we disagree, because using an animal is not necessarily against their best interest. So, for example, if I would leave a horse in nature, most of the time they either freeze, starve, get eaten by other animals alive. So there is quite the difference to being in a symbiotic relationship with a human that feeds them every day, gives them shelter, and uses them. So that is essentially, you do that. I don't know if you do that. I don't know if you have a day job, but most people go into certain trades because it's beneficial to them. So the animals are predestined, so to speak, by God, out of my worldview, to be in use for us humans.
Well, when we talk about jobs, I know it depends on what political part of the political spectrum you're on. But when we're talking about jobs, to some degree, you have some sort of choice whether or not you're going to go to work and be used. But obviously, there'll be some people in my chat who, go through, exploitation of labor. However, when we're talking about animals, and because again, I think there's no morally relevant difference between them and us. If I were to say, okay, well, I'm using this human in the exact same way that I would like a cow, and that's absolutely fine, because if I left this person to go out in the wild, they'd be mauled by a bear or something like that. That wouldn't be something that we would accept.
But again, I just gave you that as an example. Even if all of that wouldn't happen, I would still appeal to that I am in the position of eating and using animals just because it is dictated by the hierarchy of God. So that doesn't really change anything for me. I actually want to make it a little bit more relatable to you listening, because I don't think you're religious or you believe in God. I don't know. We can talk about that later. Yeah, we can talk about that a bit later if you want. Mm-hmm. I just gave that as a relatable example, that because you said abuse and I said use, then you defined abuse. Wait a second. Then you defined abuse and you said that is something that is not in the interest of the animal. And I clarified and said, yeah, well, in this instance, when we use the animal, it can actually be in the interest of the animal. That's all.
No, just to clarify, I don't think I used the word abuse. So
yeah,
about exploitation.
Oh, exploitation, same.
Yeah. So, well, to exploit someone is to use them for one's own gain, often or sometimes against their best interest.
Exactly.
So even in the definition, it doesn't mean that absolutely it will be against their best interest.
Huh?
But
you just said that. No, you just said against their best interest. You said that.
I said often.
Yeah.
So that doesn't entail always.
Okay, so in many instances it's not. So what's the big deal?
Yeah,
so
we're talking about exploitation.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider it exploitation.
Okay, let's just make this clear.
Please.
So the reason you're saying it's not exploitation is because there could be an alternative for them that would be worse out in the wild.
No, that's not what I said.
Okay,
I said
why is it not exploitation?
It's not exploitation because they have a certain... I said it's not exploitation because they have a certain position that they have to adhere to. Everything adheres to its own positioning within this life. I think you would agree that you can see that bees have a certain position within this world, ants have a certain position in the world, and livestock has its position as well. So do workers, so do managers, so do presidents. Everything has its own hierarchy and position, and this is why it is good to use. It is declared to be used, and therefore it is not some sort of exploitation.
You said they must fulfill this role.
For sure.
Where must they fulfill the role? Like, where does it say that a cow must be livestock?
You can look up why animals have been put into place if you want to adhere to the Bible, but I don't want to make it too religious. I'm just sharing my worldview.
I'm trying to understand your worldview, and I just want to know if you're saying, well, they must fulfill this position.
Sure. Yeah, it is.
Trying to figure out where you found.
Sure, it is described within the Bible as well that they are here for us, to be livestock for us, to be food for us. Yeah, that's
and they have to be.
That's their role. Yes, that's their role.
But it also says, "Thou shalt not kill." That's one of the.
Exactly, but that's for humans.
And that says just for humans somewhere?
It's clearly for humans because it comes in the context of the Old Testament, and you have after that, of course, the old Judaical laws as well that clearly explain who you should not kill and who you should marry, etc., etc. All of those frameworks are only directed towards humans. Everything comes in the context.
Though, I don't know where it says that a cow must be livestock. They must be. They must fulfill this role for us. Yeah,
and on top of that, of course, I mean, the book is pretty big. It's not only one side. So if you go later into Revelations, for example, you will find kind of predictory and revelatory phrases about the future that is about to come. And in that, we are, as believers, warned of people that will tell us to abstain from the flesh as well. And those are doctrines of the devil. So even within the Bible, you can find clearly that we should abstain from those doctrines, from those belief systems that tell us to not eat meat.
Okay, but where is the... I just want to know where it says in the bits that you should follow that aren't the message of the devil, where it says you have to.
It says clearly, should I bring the Bible out now? It says clearly you should have dominion. I created them for you as food, and you should have dominion over them. That is the passage.
As far as I'm aware, dominion doesn't necessarily mean that then you have to exploit and kill someone.
And they're food for you,
dominion.
So, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know, just look up, dominion. You can have sovereignty or control over someone without exploiting and killing them, i.e. like a child.
Yeah, and on top of that, of course, you have to take into consideration that me coming from a Christian Orthodox background, it's not only the Bible that we adhere to, that is the main book, of course, but we have the church fathers, we have the churches, we have tradition, And in that, we have clarification about fasting practices, we have clarification about holidays, we have clarification about eating practices in general, and there it is as well. You can believe me, clearly determined that eating meat is part of being human for us. That's what it means.
Well, yeah, I'd be interested in seeing the passages that even say this, because there's first these words that could mean completely different things if interpreted. Even dominion, it doesn't mean.
Do you know who put the Bible together?
Yeah, it was various, like, wasn't it 6 people?
Yeah, do you know who those people are? Roughly, you don't need to know them by name.
I know, somewhat. From I was brought up in quite a Christian school, but
was it Catholic or what was it? Or
I'm
Protestant?
not really sure. I think Protestant.
Yeah. So if you look into Orthodoxy, what you will find is that the Orthodox Church itself was established before the Bible was around. So it's essentially the Orthodox Church fathers that put the Bible together and gave it the context. So therefore, just by reading the Bible itself, and if you want to kind of Bible thump and look for phrases, I would say that you can find many phrases that you might want to interpret in your own worldview, but you always need the context according to it. And therefore, I would urge you, if you really are genuinely interested, then you would have to read the works of the Church Fathers as well in order to understand. But that's a long topic. Anyways, let's get back to the name the trade argument, no?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are we, as far as I'm aware, we're just trusting you that somewhere it does say in the context that we have to exploit and kill livestock. They have to be.
I'm the Christian in this context. I would say we have to trust that I am right on that we are definitely commanded to abstain from the doctrines of the devils, which is abstain from marriage and abstain from the people that tell you to abstain from flesh. So that is definitely within the Bible and within the Orthodox context. That's just what it is.
Okay, so we'll move on to the name the trait thing again.
No, we didn't move on. We came back. Should we do Bible studies now? I mean, it would be very long. No?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, I'm just cautious because obviously we said about an hour. Well, I said about an hour. I don't know if you have too much longer.
I'll still have some time. No
okay, worries. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, so from your worldview, you're just saying that we have dominion over literally every other animal, therefore we can do what we want with them, essentially.
Pretty much, yeah.
So you wouldn't say it would be wrong, in your view, if I took a dog, a cow, a chicken, and then I just decided, well, I want to, so I'm just going to bludgeon them to death. If I want to, I can do what I want because God gave me dominion.
We have a certain moral construct and a certain conduct, of course, as humans, how we shall behave, but ultimately, yes, you could do that.
You could do that?
Yes,
okay.
Sure.
Well, this is the thing. I just don't believe that, like, most people are going to think this way. And obviously, just because most people think a certain way doesn't mean that it's wrong.
Right.
But I just don't see, like, why, just because we are humans, we're
humans, yes.
We're made in the image of God. Even though obviously we'd have to see what contradiction is entailed by God's non-existence in the first place. But that would be like a really long conversation about the existence.
I thought you were agnostic.
Yeah, agnostic. So I don't believe you can have knowledge of a deity, a being. So I don't.
Interesting.
I don't believe that we can make claims about existence. Yeah.
So you don't believe in revelation, anything like that?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
It's the lack of belief. I just don't think that I, as a human being, can even encompass everything that would make being.
Do you think other humans could?
I don't think we have the capacity.
Oh, you don't think anybody can?
Yeah. So I don't know how we could even, I don't know how, a human could translate the word of a deity into a scripture, and then that is the case.
I see, okay. But anyways, we can talk about that a bit later. Let's finish the game. Let's finish this beautiful game named The Trade.
Yeah, I mean, I don't so much see it as a game.
I was so happy
it's difficult because obviously up to 2.7 trillion animals are killed every single year in animal agriculture. So it like stops feeling like a game. I'm kind of sick of it. I just don't know why. I'm trying to, because you've established this is the case. But I want to work out why it is the case that, like,
So we're not playing it. So we're not playing it anymore.
Well, we are. We're working off it. So you've said that the relevant difference is the fact that we're made in the image of God.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to work out, because obviously, so in a context, okay, so we're in a room, there's a human, there's a dog, there's a cat, there's a cow, that we're looking at the human and going, I won't violate you in any way. You are in the image of God.
Yeah.
I can do nothing to you.
I would guarantee you that after a while, if we would be really in a room and it's a closed room and we're in there together and nothing else is in that room and we are in there for God knows how many days, yes, after a while you would definitely kill the cow, kill the dog, kill all the animals and eat them, 100%. You would do that too.
Well, yeah, so when we're talking... Yeah, well, you'd probably do that to a human as well. It doesn't suddenly mean that it would be justified to, just go willy-nilly and, exploit them. I think what you do in desperation is different to what you would do. And I can't really navigate whether or not it's suddenly justified, but I do understand why in a survival situation, someone would kill their best friend and eat their leg.
Yeah.
I do understand. But if someone did that in just because, then a different sort of context, and it wouldn't be justifiable just because in that situation of survival, one would do that to save their own life. But but
that's what we do. That's what we do, right? I mean, again, I make the point, of course, even though that deviates a little bit now from name of the trade yet again, I say that it is indeed a necessity for optimal health to eat meat, and therefore it is always necessary. It doesn't have to be a life or death survival situation where I don't have anything to eat any longer. I would still eat animal foods in order to preserve my health, of course. Nevertheless, okay, the argument is, I say image of God. How do we go from there?
Before we go there, I just want to address that, obviously, in this kind of view where you're like, well, for my health, I would need to eat these animal products.
Sure.
Well, it's been established, as
appeal to authority.
Go further. Well, yeah, not fallaciously, because when we're talking about hierarchy of scientific evidence, we are, interested in the authority. Because the way, for example, so you have cohort studies, randomized control trials.
Sure.
When you're looking at those, there have been more variables tested for, more things considered, the context historically, things like that wouldn't be in a case study. Which is,
just because it hasn't been done yet doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right? So, for example, I'm a meathead through and through. If we look at bodybuilding, for example, the sport of bodybuilding is roughly 120 years old. And now they slowly come around and start doing studies on certain bodybuilders. But nevertheless, they cannot compare any study to the work that has been done within the sport of bodybuilding, which is 120 years old yet again, and in which we have a huge amount of evidence for the certain use of anabolic steroids or the certain use of high-protein diets, etc., that transformed the body. So now we can say that's all anecdotal evidence. Fair enough, but it's 120 years of anecdotal evidence in that case that led to certain replicable results. That's what it is. And the same is, of course, to be contributed to, if you want to, based on evolution or whatnot, that we've been eating meat for millions and millions of years. So it is replicable, and we can see to what it leads.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is why we have the need for study, because it may be a hypothesis that something is the case because we can observe that, this seems to be working. That's why there's the need for these.
And there are studies for eating meat. There are studies on veganism. There's actually a great study that came out. We're talking about studies. Just one thing.
Sorry, you said multiple things. I'd just like to...
Keep on talking. I'm just going to bring something up.
So, when we're talking, I'm not making the claim that, eating meat, you're going to die or something horrible is going to happen to you.
That's good.
Anything like that. What I'm saying is it's something that's avoidable. We can survive and thrive without doing so. There's supplementation, and that is something that, again, the scientific consensus is that is suitable, that if you have absorption problems, then you can supplement in different ways, either, via injection or something like that. However, I'm not even making that claim anyway.
Yeah, that's good.
And I'm so sorry, I do have to leave in about 5
Really?
And the internet.
We didn't even get into the interesting parts, man.
Yeah, it's my internet as well. I don't know if it is on your end, but mine just keeps freezing up. It's really.
I really think it's because you have both of those programs running.
Yeah,
I don't think it's the internet.
I don't know. Maybe if I stop this, I'll test this, okay? But my camera might eat. I'm not sure.
Just give it a go.
Give it a go.
I'm having so much fun. It's a shame.
Well, I can always come back.
Yeah, you're more than invited, for sure.
Yeah, of course. Wish to exit, and you'll see, like, probably, it's doing this.
I see the swastika. That's a swastika. That's racist. I see that right away.
Oh, God.
We have a racist vegan here.
Classic. Oh, yeah, just really me. Sorry about that. It's caught me in the act. Yeah, so you know what? I can BRB. If there was an interesting part that you were like, oh, I have to get into that, then we could totally do that another time if you want to.
Another time, you said? Or
yeah, when my internet's not being,
Fair enough. That was shorter than expected.
But yeah, it's been an hour, 12 minutes. I don't know if there's something that you would like to hear.
Yeah, most definitely. I think we just scratched the surface. I think we just got into the interesting topics, such as the whole moral aspect, the God aspect, right from wrong, ethics, etc. I think we didn't really touch on ethics. You know what? I'm going to make you a offer here. Because we talked kind of randomly about health, and I brought the health aspect into it. Let's just not talk about health at all next time, and let's just jump into the ethics and stay with the ethics.
That sounds fun to me.
Cool.
Yeah, I much prefer that because obviously there's a lot of claims that can be made within. I'm not a fan of these scientific claims, and they're very uncomfortable. That's why I'm very happy, with the stance of the NHS and the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics and whatnot. But yeah, I appreciate the discussion.
Yeah, no worries. Let's have you back on when you have the time, when your internet works. Next time I recommend to keep only one streaming program running. That would be better for sure. And you're welcome to come back.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And go vegan, lads.
For sure. Never. See ya. Thank you. Okay. All right, guys. That was it. Actually, a bit shorter than expected. I thought it's going to go on for at least half an hour. We barely scratched the surface. I expected a bit more. Nevertheless, I want to bring up this study. It is a study conducted, as you can see, published February 22nd. So just 4 days ago. Hot. Meat eating extends human life expectancy worldwide. Go figure. How can that be? Yeah, guys. Anyways, we had some super chats. We had some Streamlabs donations. Thank you so much. Let me just read them out. And then maybe we're going to jump into this article. Maybe I'm going to do a separate video on it. Not too sure. Javid says, tell her you don't see fruit trees when you're hiking. Yeah, I don't think vegans understand that those plants that they eat from the supermarket do not grow in the natural environment. They don't get it, and they don't even think it's important. That is another aspect of it. Let's create a bright green future where we all show compassion. Beep bop beep bop bop. Okay, let me see. Let me pull this up. Vegan gays come back on, says Javid. Thank you so much, Javid. One more time, bro. I appreciate it. Let me just adjust this here real quick. Here we go. That's relaxing. That's good for the eyes. That is beautiful. Fantastico. Applause, everybody. Merci beaucoup. Fala. Thank you. Appreciate it. Everybody that supports the stream. Let's create a bright green future where we all feel compassion. Javid says, a carny charming a vegan thinks she's in love. I don't know, she's a lesbian. So if I really did a job on her, then vegan and lesbian, wow, I am convincing apparently. Thank you so much, Javid, yet again. I don't think she's gonna change camps anytime soon. She seems nice so far, Javid says. Yeah, she was nice. She was definitely nice to talk to, but I really believe that vegans simply fail to see the broader picture. I noticed that when she started talking about the extension of the laws that are already in place, and I think that that is a huge issue already. She talked about women's rights, about women voting, about liberalism, etc., etc. I already declare that those those things are not good things to begin with. That is what I see as the main issue. So if you want to extend them, yeah, I would agree that they would be further extended into animal rights. But yeah, human rights in itself is already a wrong idea. I am for a theocracy after all. Anyways. Yeah, was a nice talk though. Was a nice talk, but I expected a little bit longer. To be fair, she said 1 hour, so I'm not going to blame it on her. Don't get me wrong, guys. But yeah, talking, I thought she's going to stick around a little bit longer so we can discuss a bit more. Nevertheless. She is nice, but she is misled. Yeah, 100%. 100%. That is what veganism is, essentially. It is misleading you. The doctrine of the devils, after all. Okay. I think we had some super chats that I cannot see here. Let me just double check. I hope I can find them. Sorry for that, guys. Let me see if I can find them on the chat box, in the chat box. Here we go. Flat sea level background, says Javid. Exactly, brother. That's how it is. Let's create a there is future where we all show compassion. Veganism is amazing. Yeah, can't find them. I'm gonna try to bring them up here on my phone. Just give me a second, guys. I don't want to miss your super chats. In case I missed them. As always, guys, Streamlabs donations are prioritized. They're always better. Super chats work too, of course. But YouTube always wants to take 30% off my wallet. Don't do that. We're facing an economic crisis. I can't lose more money. Please, YouTube. It's quite interesting. We have more views in the last few months, but revenue goes down again, as always. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, Luca B. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Man, Javid and Luca B, they become the biggest supporters of Bobby's Perspective, honestly, man. They're always here, always supporting. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Why doesn't she just explain how she would not abuse cats or dogs if no other animals are killed and they starve to death? Probably cats are also frugivores, lol. As I said, it is an irrational doctrine, of course, based on feelings. And that's where I wanted to go with this. But we played Name the Trade, and we didn't even finish playing Name the Trade. Unfortunately, I was really happy to play Name the Trade. I never played it before. So I said, let's play it, let's go. But we didn't even play Name the Trade. It's such a shame. I hope we're going to continue naming the trade next time. Yeah, we are animals. We shouldn't eat animals. Other animals eat animals, but we have moral agency. So doesn't the moral agency make us different than animals? No, but we're still animals. Okay. Yeah, doesn't make much sense if you ask me. Okay, here, Highlander. This is the one that I missed, apparently. They need supplements if dietetics says it's adequate. Highlander, again, mind-boggling, man. Unfortunately, she already left. Otherwise, you could address her with this. Doesn't make sense. Studies on vitamin A toxicity, for example. Thank you so much. Gonna read it out in a second. Studies that are done on vitamin A toxicity, for example, are conducted with supplements because that is the only way to really measure the exact amount of a certain vitamin, even though synthetic in that case. But that doesn't explain how much saturation within the tissues you actually accomplish. That's what it is. So therefore, we cannot adhere to supplements. Supplements are here to supplement and not replace. In veganism, you need to replace nutrients, and that is obviously unhealthy. I mean, if you need a scientific study for that, I don't know how to help you. Okay. Thank you so much, Highlander. Javid said 3 with 2 questions. Is eating poop vegan? Yeah, of course it's vegan. That's what monkeys do. Alien Drone Service donated $5. Thank you so much, Alien Drone Service. All vegans depend upon a complex web of animal exploitation. The only way to stop that is to advance to Kardashev Type 1 civilizations. Okay, that is deep, bro. I wouldn't know. But the point of the story is, of course, that I think they're willingly ignorant. I don't understand it. They don't want to see, ultimately, that veganism destroys environments like nothing else. So they really believe that if the whole planet would eat only plants, then we would have less monocultures. Yeah, sure. That's how it works. Thank you so much, Alien Drone Service. Gung Fu, did you listen to Joe Rogan's recent episode with Diana Rogers and Rob Wolf on Spotify? They debunked a lot of vegan stuff. No, I haven't watched that, bro. Thank you so much, Gung Fu. Good to see you. I'm gonna check it out then. I haven't seen it. David asked again, is it vegan to eat poop? Yes, absolutely, brother. It is vegan to eat your own poop that has B12, as gorillas do. That is the right way to go. Eat poop. Go vegan. 100%. I found it cute how she said in the end, go vegan. As if anybody got convinced. Anyways, nice girl. I would love to have her back on for sure. Then we can dive deeper into ethics, etc. Another thing. Thank you so much again, David. I appreciate it. I'm going to read it out in a second. One more thing there that she said about... Now I lost my thread. David. Okay, let me read out the super chat first. David, thank you so much. He says, MGTOW men agree with you on the female vote. Yeah, MGTOWs, they have certain aspects that are definitely right. I'm not going to disagree with. But as a whole, I see a very, very flawed ideology. As a whole, it is not what will make you happy. Because in many ways, especially if you adhere to it in your 20s, you will get further and further away from marriage and from creating children. And with that, you will find yourself in your 30s being kind of miserable and not having accomplished what you should have accomplished way, way earlier. This is why I disagree with MGTOWs. Yeah, that is that. Anyways, man, I really lost my thread. I want to mention something about the ethical argument that she made. Nah, it will come to me later on. Anyways, debate Dr. Avi. Who is that? I'm gonna sub to Food Lies. Yeah, Food Lies, we should have worked together, but then Kurat's virus happened. Natasha Campbell McBride is great. I agree here. Yeah, absolutely. I would love to have her on as well. That would be interesting, I guess. Christopher, wie soll ich anfangen, rohes Fleisch zu essen? Ja, indem du es isst, mein Freund. Ist doch ganz einfach. He asks, how should I start eating raw meat? So I say, just start eating raw meat. It's actually very, very simple. But when I quit veganism, I started with raw fish, sashimi, sushi. And that was amazing. That was mind-blowing. Absolutely beautiful. And I found the tuna to be very, very strong in taste, very irony. Then for the first time when I ate raw meat, I actually ate it with Vegetable Police. On that note, Vegetable Police, you're still invited, dude. Stop dodging my messages. We love you over here. Come on. You're invited. Anyways, I started eating raw beef with Vegetable Police. And to my surprise, it was much, much more mild than tuna sashimi. Much more mild. It was, yeah, not pungent at all. Ah, thank you so much. Again, David, the biggest supporter, hands down, man. Thank you so much. I'm going to read it out in a second. Yeah, as I was saying, when I tried the beef for the first time, it wasn't anything special to me. It was this very mild. Tuna sashimi is much stronger in taste. Salmon, obviously, as well. So this is how I did it. Just try raw salmon first, then raw tuna, and then try raw beef, and you're going to be surprised how mild raw beef is. I would urge you, of course, to go to your butcher and ask them about the treatment of the animals. Not because we are so compassionate over here, but because we care egoistically only about our own health, of course. And we want to be healthy, but for that we need healthy animals. So check if you can find grass-fed meat. But to be completely honest here, you can find grain-finished meat that is fantastic as well to be eaten raw. I had steak tartare over here in France, which was grain-finished, and I didn't mind, because 90% of their life they're spending on pasture. I didn't care. It was fine. Not antibiotic treated. You can eat that. The toxins are found anyways within the fat, so if you eat steak tartare, yeah, chances are very, very slim that you will find anything bad within the raw meat flesh. I mean, let's be honest, if you're eating sushi, farmed sushi, that is way worse than eating a raw steak. So you really don't have to be worried. I would go for steak tartare first because it's the easiest. It has a little bit of seasoning, so for most normies, that's the easiest way to try it. But after that, you can eat it without seasoning as well. It's actually quite delicious. It's kind of bland, to be honest. Raw meat doesn't taste like much. I like raw fish the most. But yeah, it's not a big deal, just eat it. Okay, we had another super chat again. Thank you so much, Javid, biggest supporter of tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bobby, you know lesbos don't exist. Her biology was turned on. Bobby, the pickup artist, is back. She's a lesbo but believe in God. Learn the MGTOW definition in hypergamy. Hey guys, on that note, I'm always honest and transparent here. I have to apologize. Because last time when we talked about hypergamy, I really thought about polyamory. It was already late in the stream and it was my mistake. 100%. So hypergamy is not polyamory. I agree with that. Anyways, that being said, yeah, I don't believe in lesbians either, but I don't believe in homosexuals and gays either. I do believe that she's attracted to women, to females, and I do believe that men are attracted to men, but both comes from traumatization, and therefore it is not real in that sense. It is a trauma-based, essentially, psychosis. Yeah. So there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that she would be turned on by men, 100%. Okay. But that is not me, the pickup artist. I'm happy. I'm happy here with my woman. Debate Dr. Avi. He's a vegan medical doctor. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, sure. About what? About the health benefits of eating lentils and grains? I'm sure I can be convinced. But that's the thing. Again, with her, even though I have to say it kind of ended up being a bit debate-like, I always say that I actually don't want to debate or get into the frame, into the mind frame, mind state, whatever, of debating, because it kind of closes up the possibility of actually honestly getting to truth. So therefore, with her, I noticed that we went, in the beginning especially, a bit into this debate type of style. But I don't really like it, because like that, you don't open up the possibility of the other side finding the truth at all. So therefore, yeah, I'm not really into debates. It's boring, because everybody will defend their side vehemently, and it doesn't open up possibilities. That's it. Try help her add eggs back into her diet. Yeah, she was so afraid because they're so allergenic. So is raw meat the healthiest way? Yeah, I would say it is the healthiest way for sure. Okay. Anyways, I've been at it for 1 hour 40. I'm gonna stay 15 more minutes, guys. 15 more minutes. If you want to support, I'm here 15 more minutes, then I'm gone. I'm gonna be back tomorrow. That being said, we might have... Actually, let's have on. Let me just respond and ask live here with you guys to Magda. Magda is live. She's online right now. Let me ask her. You have time tomorrow? She's from Poland. She made a video about me. I didn't watch her video, guys. I didn't watch vegan gays video either. Just the beginning. And when I see the rolling R, as I said, hey, I'm not rolling the R. Come on. It's a thick accent, but it's not that thick. So let me see if Magda has time tomorrow. Magda made a video about me. We can talk to her tomorrow. Let me just... Can I put this up? I'll try. Just give me a second, guys. So we can tune into that real quick for the last 15 minutes to see who's coming on tomorrow. Magdalena. Magda, Bobby's perspective. She's not a lesbian, last time I checked. I'm not too sure.
To him. Oh, so you have a topic.
Okay. Guys, what is going on, man? What is going on? It's only Javid. Come on, guys. Help brother out here. Support, support, support. Let not only Javid empty his pockets, but nevertheless, Javid, thank you so much. I see the most generous donation tonight, $20. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate it. He says, good discussion. I agree on the view of debates. Glad you said she could look at studies all day, but that's boring. I mean, ultimately, we want to talk, right? So, yeah, we can look at studies and compare those studies as if we were researchers. I am interested in real-life results, and I can say that I mean, if you're a fitness trainer, which I am, and you have trained people and you produce results, those people don't want to see a scientific evidence for your claims. They want to see results on their own body. That's what is interesting. That's what they want. And it's the same with people here. In those 3 years, I talked to a bazillion amount of vegans and meat eaters alike. We have the anecdotes, but we have the results. And that's what counts. So in order to heal your gut, you cannot find one vegan approach that will heal your gut. None. Ever. It never works, other than when they do a quick juice fast. But that's not a solution because it is not sustainable. Then they go back to their plans and then it hurts again. My gut. Anyways, thank you so much again, Javid. It is boring for sure. And I would say that most vegans that pretend to be also qualified are most definitely not qualified in understanding those studies. On that note, we could bring back Bart K. Again, Bart K, hello, hello. I have to bring you on soon, that is for sure. And then we can discuss some studies if you want. He can show them to you, explain, etc., etc. Anyways, here, display capture. Now we have an inception here. Bobby with Bobby with Bobby. Mwah! Pugman, I love you. You're the best. From the bottom of my heart, Pugman. Appreciate it. The biggest donation of tonight, $70 whopping dollars. Thank you so much, man. On that note, Pugman has a channel as well. Check it out. He uploads cool snippets of my channel, other channels as well. And he has a spaceship that he calls a Tesla. And he uploads shorts about his Tesla as well. That's a sweet car that you have there. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. Very amazing. Thank you, Pugman. He is the most generous supporter of our channel here. Thank you so much again. So that is Magda. She has a very small channel just with 790 subscribers. I didn't find it too interesting. As I said, I just watched maybe a minute.
Good morning. This time I would like to comment new video made by Bobby Perspective.
New video, kurwa. Yeah, it's okay, whatever. I didn't watch it, as I said. We can just discuss it. I don't mind. I want to have more people on here. So Magda, if she answers, let me just check if she answered already. She didn't answer. Magda! Hey! You're online, I see it. Anyways, Magda might come in tomorrow. We can have a quick talk. She's allegedly a carnivore, ex-carnivore that went vegan. Okay, and now as a vegan, she's doing tremendously fine. Magda, in case you're watching this, I would like to have you on, but please wear something more covering on this channel here. I don't like this exposed chest area. So thank you very much. You're more than invited, but please dress code a bit more covered on this channel. Thank you so much. Otherwise, I will have to crop you till your face. Or maybe even beyond that. Thank you so much. I appreciate everybody that supported yet again. Thank you, thank you, thank you guys. Let me check the chat for a second here. And then I'm gonna tune out slowly but surely. Slowly but surely. Slowly but surely. Go vegan, everybody. Thank you, David Brisboys. Is that Brisbane? Is that synonymous for Brisbane? I don't know. Brisboys, thank you so much, David. I appreciate it. I think this name I see for the first time. No, Brisboys. Bobby, I wish I knew about the carnivore diet a long time ago. Life-changing in every aspect. Yeah, man, first and foremost, congratulations on reclaiming your health. Happy to hear that, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. I get comments like this every single day, and I'm just happy that I'm actually changing some people's perspective onto what is good, aka eating meat. So the carnivore diet is the best reset diet there is, and some people maintain carnivore, like Sean Baker. Me personally, I said it before, I reintroduce carbohydrates, then I go keto again when I want to slim down a bit, then I reintroduce carbs again. I work with both worlds. Nevertheless, the carnivore diet is the fantastic reset. It is the real detox that we've been looking for as vegans. I'm happy to hear this, man. This is what we are all about here on this channel, to open some eyes and bring them back to sanity, to common sense. Hey, eat meat is good. Unbelievable that we have to say that nowadays, but it is the truth. Thank you so much, David Brisbois. Appreciate it. Unmasking Vandalism says, Ellie was so much less respectful to me. Time to retire, obviously. So you're somebody that had a debate with her, I assume, or talk. I don't know your channel, bro. I can check it out quickly to see. Let me check. Unmasking, where you at? I really wonder, on Streamlabs I cannot open the profiles. I don't know why, but anyways. Let me just double check here. Here you are, okay. Unmasking Vandalism. Go to channel. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, you just have one video. Okinawa, plant-based diet, starving. Okay, yeah, I don't know your channel, bro. I don't know who you are. I don't know that she was rude to you or anything. I think that if you talk nicely and politely, people are always nice and polite, I think. People are always nice to me, man. But I'm always nice to people. I'm a nice guy overall. My woman laughs about that. I said, I'm a nice guy. She said, you're not a nice guy. I think I'm nice. Javid just beat Pugman by $1. Javid, thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much, guys. I'm gonna read it in a second. Javid, thank you so much. Javid reached the top amount with $71 just to shove it in Pugman's face. He showed him with $1 more. He became the most generous supporter of tonight's stream. Jared, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it big time. What you said about the juice fast as a temporary relief of digestion is exactly what Veggie Police is experiencing. Oh, is he again on the juice fast now or what? Wow, man, that's crazy. It's so ridiculous. Let's be honest. It is so ridiculous to see. You think that you're a herbivore. A herbivore has a hind gut fermentation system for all that fiber. You don't. This is why you get digestive system issues. Cool. Then you eat, or rather drink, juices where you extract all the fiber mechanically to get rid of the fiber and to just drink the juice. The sugar. Like that you feel better, but you still believe you're a herbivore. So after that cleanse... Thank you so much, Roxanne. I'm going to read it out in a second. So after that cleanse, you go back to eating the fibrous plants, and then you suffer again, and then you do another juice fast. That is the doctrine of devils. That is Satanism, essentially. That's so ridiculous, man. Oh, Jared, thank you so much again, brother. Thank you, everybody. Wow. That's the vegan logic. That is the vegan logic. You cannot help it. Vegan brain fog. So, first, Sherwood Grimm, $10. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I hunt 70% of the meat that I consume. Elk meat is pretty funky unless cooked, especially the liver. What would you recommend for flavoring game meat? I prefer garlic and onion, but I think I've heard you mention that they can be toxic. Also, intro song. Okay, so let me start in reverse. The intro song, let me try to link this real quick for you. So I have it on my channel. I called it on purpose, Bobby's Perspective intro music. So anybody that would search on YouTube could find it. So let me see. Does it show up? Yes. It's literally called Bobby's Perspective intro music. It's a royalty-free song. And it's called Wolf Upbeat 8-bit Electronic. That's it. I found it years ago. Thank God that I did. And it became the Bobby's Perspective anthem. I'm going to post it now in the chat box for you guys. All you have to do otherwise, in case you're watching this when it's offline, just search on YouTube for Bobby's Perspective intro music. That's it. And you're going to find it. Anyways, I posted it in the chat right now, so you can check it out. Thank you so much. About the rest, man, I guess that's a preference. First and foremost, kudos to you, respect that you are hunting. That is absolutely amazing. Vegans will still find an argument against that. It is so ridiculous. They want to give... Actually, wait a second. Maybe that would be a loophole, right? Because they want to give animals rights. She wants to give animals rights. But she doesn't consider the animals in the wild as somebody that would have those rights because they're not part of our smart city, I assume. So I guess as long as you are outside hunting, you should still be fine. Anyhow, I personally enjoy game meat. I personally don't need seasoning with it. That's me. Not at all. I don't season my meats at all. When I'm eating them raw or cooked, I don't need seasoning for them. Salt. I use salt. That's it. I don't need any herbs, spices. I don't add it to my foods. Back in the day, I ate a lot of garlic and onions, but what I keep on saying is that they are antiseptic and that they destroy microbes within your body. So it wouldn't be a good idea to eat that too often. I wouldn't recommend eating onions and garlic every single day or often, period. So therefore, if you find it funky, I don't know if I ever tried elk, to be completely honest here. Straws, kangaroo, wild boar in the day. So yeah, I definitely ate a lot of wild game meat, ostrich, and horse is not game meat, but similar gamey. I personally love it, and I can eat it raw as well, especially horse, delicious. I can't make a recommendation because I wouldn't recommend spices. That's me. Really, I cannot give you a tip here, unfortunately, because I don't use spices at all, bro. So you say I prefer garlic and onion, I would abstain from that 100%. So I would minimize it to salt. Pepper can be problematic too. Guys, don't get me wrong, I'm not a absolutist. If you feel fine, add your spices and feel good with it. It's not going to kill you, it's just not ideal. That's it. It's not ideal. Ideal is if you don't add all of those spices to your food. Especially not those, onions and garlic spices. That's all I really can tell you. So I would try to get used to it. The combination that I personally love a lot is when I'm eating fruits and meat. Then I don't need much seasoning or anything on those lines because the fruits are delicious and the meat just gives it a beautiful contrast, a nourishing contrast. That's the only thing I can really recommend, eating fruits and meat at the same time. Yeah. Anyways, brother, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And here, one last thing. You say the liver, especially. I hate cooked liver. I cannot have it. When I eat cooked liver, I gag. It's so repulsive to me. But raw liver is always fine. I'm not a fan of it, but it's way, way better than eating the cooked liver. For me personally. So, in Germany we say, über Geschmack lässt sich nicht streiten, which means you cannot argue over taste. If you don't like it, no matter what I'm going to say, it's not going to help you. That's just being honest. Thank you very much. Roxanne, super chatted £9. Thank you so much, Roxanne. Hey, Bobby, great live stream as always. In your opinion, do you believe atheists can be good people? Yeah, I talked about that on the live stream with, what's his name again? Vegan something. Carnism Debunked. Exactly, that's his name. I talked about it and I said, yes, of course, first and foremost, nobody is good but God. Nobody can be really good. The wholeness of goodness is not encompassed in human beings. We cannot reach it. I'm going to read it out in a second, David. Thank you so much. But that being said, yes, you can have immoral behavior, if you will, as an atheist. That is not the point at all. There can be somebody that is, let's say, For example, in New Zealand, there was a Christian Serbian who was listening to Chetnik Serbian music and who was identified as a Christian Orthodox, and he thought it's in the name of God to go into a mosque into New Zealand and kill a bunch of people. He thought that's the right thing to do because the Serbs did the same. They went to the Bosnians and massacred them. So he thought that's the right thing to do and that is good, and he believes in God. So obviously, if you haven't done such a thing, you're probably a better person than him. But that being said, it's not about it. That's not what I'm talking about. This is what atheists get conflicted with. They don't want to understand what I'm saying, or they can't understand what I'm saying. All I'm saying is, yes, you can have moral behavior. You can be considered a good, quote-unquote, person. But that is not the argument. That is not the question. The question is, where do you derive those morals from? And why do you adhere to them? If there is no God, if there is no afterlife, if there is no ultimate right and wrong, everything is relative anyways, then I'm really wondering why you try to be a good person. If there is no God, if there is no origin of goodness, what is good about you being good? Who cares? Do what you will. And this is exactly the devilish doctrine by Aleister Crowley promoted, because then you can do what you want. And I wouldn't mind then if atheists would do what they want, because then they would really prove that they are atheists. They could just follow their urges, but they don't, because they still believe in some sort of good conduct. And therefore, yes, again, you can be in a good conduct, but the question is, why would you? Where does it come from? What is the reasoning for it? Is it absolutely true to be good? Why shouldn't we all be bad, quote unquote? That is the whole point. Thank you so much, Roxanne. David Brisbois, again, thank you so much. First and foremost, let me give you all around of applause. Bright green future where we all show compassion. Good to see you from dusk until spawn. Super chatted $2 with the 1-up smiley. Thank you so much. David Brisbois says, what do you think about David Leduc turning vegan? I actually reached out to him last year or so, and I tried to convince him. Never do that, because he is a just new vegan, especially last year. He just became vegan. So it's the worst thing you can try. Don't even try. I liked the guy a lot, and I still like him. I don't know him personally. I like what he's doing with the Lethway. He is a fantastic fighter. So, yeah, cool. All awesome. Thank you so much again, David. Really, that is beyond belief here. Thank you so much for all the support. Let me just finish the super chat, then I'm coming to you. Thank you. As I was saying, I like the guy. He's a funny guy, good fighter, all of that. And then he turned vegan. And I was just thinking to myself, don't, man, you're going to ruin your career. Of course, he believed in the Game Changers, and it was made by a former UFC fighter. But that's the whole point. The guy's a former UFC fighter. That guy wouldn't do that during his active career. And it is not to be recommended to do it during your active career. So therefore, David is, I think, still within his 20s. He can still get away with it. Thank you so much. I'll read it on in a second. As I was saying, you can get away with it in your 20s, but your performance will diminish over time. So now, guys like David, obviously, a David would kick 99% of people's butts. For sure, he's a professional fighter. Obviously. That's why I find it so funny when vegans say, yeah, well, then go and fight David Leduc. He's been training his whole life. He's a tremendous fighter. Of course. Yes, he's stronger than most people, even now as a vegan. Hands down. But that's not the argument. The argument is that he is going to destroy his health. And that's what this channel is about, as I said before. I'm not making this out of maliciousness. It's actually the opposite, because when I see vegans, not all of them, but many, they're so miserable and they just are trapped within their doctrine. Thank you again. I'll read out in a second. They're so entrapped within their doctrine and they hate people, not all, but many. They hate people and they just want to bring their points across and that's it. They don't care for people. They just care for the veganism ideology. But I do care for people. I really do. And I want them to be healthy because I destroyed myself. I destroyed myself, guys. You have no idea. To this very day, I still have side effects of veganism. I'm sure I'm going to die earlier than I would otherwise because of veganism. And I did all kinds of things in my life, right? Be it drugs, be it bodybuilding, partying and whatnot. I did crazy things. None of it was as destructive to my health as veganism. Wow, think about that. It's insane. So I destroyed myself with veganism, and I don't want other people to be destroyed as well. And when I see somebody that I like, even though, again, I haven't met the guy, but appears to be a cool dude, a fighter, I'm thinking, man, don't throw your life away for those perceived animals that you will never meet. It's ridiculous. So yeah, those are my thoughts on David. I wish him well. I really hope that he will reclaim his health. And I really hope that he will wake up out of this delusion. But he was riding with me. I'm not a bitch, so I'm not going to expose the DMs. But he was riding with me and he debated with me online like a vegan man because he's totally in it. He said, yeah, guess what? Veganism is the future. You won't eat any meat in the future. I'm opening up a vegan business. He was totally in it. So God bless you, brother. All the best, man. From my side, I wish you only the best. That's it. Okay, anyways, thank you so much, everybody, one more time. Javid Benscombe says again for $7, thank you so much, brother. He says, gay attraction can't be explained. I would beg to differ, to be honest. Gay men should be attracted to manly, I think shouldn't, right? Shouldn't be attracted to manly traits. So we should see gay couples acting like their gender. Okay, my fault. Gay attraction can't be explained. Gay men should be attracted to manly traits. So we should see gay couples acting like their gender. At the highest suicide rate and drug abuse in under 1% of the population, it's a sign of confused people. Gay gene doesn't exist. Yeah, I agree with that. So the gay gene does not exist. That is very true. And yeah, some gays. I had a teacher that was a gay. He was a very manly man, and his boyfriend was gay and manly as well. So it's not always the case that they are just attracted to feminine men. They are attracted to manly, quote-unquote, men as well. But that's not the issue. You said that it cannot be explained, and I do disagree. Because hands down I wouldn't even make the argument 100% of the cases, but to be safe, let's say 99% of the cases, I've seen that it's always an issue with the father figure and the mother. So either they have been brought up by mothers with a lot of sisters, then they become often very, very gay very soon, or they simply don't have a strong father figure that then can lead to identification issues, etc., etc. So the reason, the attraction for the gays is an issue within the household, within mother and father structure that is messed up, or divorcees, etc., etc. Yeah, that's where it all stems from. And with the suicide and drug abuse, absolutely, 100%. So it's insanity. It's absolute insanity. I talked to gay guys. My sister, strangely enough, she always has some gay friends. I think it's not strangely enough. I think that's what females do nowadays. Many have like gay friends. And she's against homosexuality. It's so funny. But she has gay friends. She always lets them know that it's disgusting. It's hilarious. Anyways, so point of the story is that those gays, man, I know a lot of guys that are on Tinder and they meet a lot of chicks and all of that for sure. But nobody can compete with the gays. They go on 10 dates per day, some of them. There's no joke. They have such a sexuality, it's really perverted, so they just jump from guy to guy, 10 per day. It was really disgusting as well, man. We had some gays living with us in a flat share in New Zealand, and they would meet with the most repulsive-looking men as well. So, again, on that note, no, it's not only female-looking men. Many gays, they just go for really disgusting-looking guys. As long as it has a dick, it's all good to go for them. Oftentimes. Anyways, thank you so much again, Javid. I appreciate it, brother. Luca B, $5, thank you. He says, I love cooked beef liver. There you go. My grandma was preparing it to me when I was a kid, and I remember it was one of my favorites, even when I knew nothing about nutrition. There you go, man. When I was small, when I was little, they fed me cooked pork liver, and again, I'm not eating any pork. So yeah, that was so repulsive that I started hating liver forever. And yeah, nowadays I can only eat it raw. I hate cooked liver. For me, it's disgusting. I tried it multiple times, can't stand it. But that's it. Über Geschmack lässt sich nicht streiten. David Benscombe, thank you again, brother. Also, the gay sex can't be explained, he says. The gay part enters a hole. It's gay people's role playing as a straight, just like vegan food pretending to be animal food. It's confusion. Yeah, again, I mean, whatever. I don't want to go into too many details here. I always keep it family friendly, more or less. But the point of the story is that it comes from confusion in general. It comes from not having a strong enough father figure. Essentially, the gays, they get into male relationships because they hate their father and they want to punish the other man or dominate the other man or be dominated by the other man. It's all a father's complex in every case. Yeah, but the same goes for sluts as well. So girls that are promiscuous is the same case. They want to be essentially degraded by men. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, now I'm here for over 2 hours. 3 more minutes, guys. 3 more minutes, and then I'm tuning out because hopefully I'm going to be back tomorrow, God willing. I should be back either way tomorrow, but that being said, if Magda, she says, yes, sure, evening, it can be interesting. Cool, she's writing right now. Give me a second. I'm going to ask if she's in Europe. Are you in Europe? How about 6 p.m.? Sweet. So we should be able to get Magdalena, the alleged ex-carnivore, on tomorrow. Looking forward to that. I eat pork a lot, but hate pork liver. So repulsive, says E. Pavlov. I don't eat any pork, bro. I find it to be a dirty animal. I don't want to touch it. Marvin Braun says, Bobby, du bist der Killer. Brüder aus Deutschland, bitte sag mir doch, zu wem ich reagieren soll. Ich muss mal wieder ein deutsches Video aufnehmen. Ich habe keine Ahnung, ich gucke kein deutsches YouTube. Kein veganes YouTube, erst recht. Lasst mich bitte wissen. So yeah, that is for the Germans. I started a German channel as well, on that note. It's only interesting to Germans, of course, where I do some reaction videos now as well, because I can't believe it. After many, many years, veganism in Germany is still up and running and there is no anti-veganism. So somebody had to do the dirty work, and that's me in this case. But I don't watch any German YouTube, nor do I watch any vegan German YouTube. So yeah, let me know if anybody knows any German vegan YouTubers. I will react to them. Okay, vegan diet takes varying times, individual. Seraph said she finds, or he finds, liver totally disgusting. Guys, again, shameless plug, in the description box we have liver capsules and powder form. And up until now, everybody is more than satisfied with the taste. It's absolutely amazing to me as well. As I said, I'm not a huge liver fan, but the liver powder is grass-fed, organic, and it tastes sweet-ish. Really delicious. You can mix it into protein shakes, into juices if you want to, or just capsules as well. Get yourself 10% off with Bobby10. Check it out. In the description box for you. Grasslands Nutrition. Are you still doing a GTA stream? Yeah. I haven't done it. I haven't done it still. Because, yeah, it's gaming. I might do it. I played some GTA in my free time, I have to admit. But yeah, I might do it at some point. I should do it. Hi Bobby, whenever I eat raw liver, it seems to give me diarrhea. Do you know why this might be? That sounds strange to me, man. Are you sure that your sauce is good? Because that sounds like an abnormal reaction, as if there is something in that liver. That's the only thing I can come up with. I don't get diarrhea when I'm eating raw liver. So if you are certain about the source, that would be my first bet. Ask about the source. Honigmuller, I will try to tune in time tomorrow. Ja, bitte. Yes, please. Big M says we like modesty at Bobby's Perspective. Very, very true. That's how it is around here. That's why I said, Magda, I don't want to see her in a top. I would like her to cover a bit when she comes on. That'd be nice. I'm going to tell her that. Gays are prolific. I lived with one once. Yeah, it's crazy, man, how many partners they change. It's really, really wild. Okay. Anyways, I think I went through everything here. 2 hours, 16 minutes. Thank you so much, everybody. Yes, 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 yes. Let me cut myself off here. It has been a long stream. It's going to be, hopefully, God willing, YouTube algorithm willing, online and not taken down. We have no copyright material here, so please, YouTube, review it before you ban it again. We talked with no profanity. Everything was in good faith, so I hope this stays online. If not, I will have to appeal it again. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Thank you so much for supporting everybody. Luca B, Javid, David, Roxanne, Sherwood Grimm, Pugman, of course, Gung Fu today too. Thank you so much, guys, for the ongoing support. I really, really appreciate it. Wouldn't be possible without you. Not just a saying. Really not possible without you. Channels being demonetized. Thank you so much. Bring Hench on the show. Not gonna happen. He doesn't want to. Anyways, see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. As always, may God bless you all. Leave it a thumbs up. Leave it a thumbs up. Much love and peace.